Hey friends, I'm Christy, and you're listening to Rock the Damn Boat. If you've ever bitten your tongue to keep the peace or said yes when every part of you wanted to say no, this one's for you. We're diving into the messy, real stuff that people pleasers like me have spent years avoiding. It's time to have the hard conversations, shake things up, and learn to stand tall even when it makes waves. And I had recorded a Sunday shorty that was a little bit depressing. I was in a little bit of self-pity at the time, and I do not want to put that energy out into the world. I recorded with a friend this morning, and we were talking a lot about intention and using tools that help us stay in a very healed place. And I was not there yesterday. So we are scrapping that episode. I am coming back to you with a brief overview of the Enneagram. The Thrive Collective, which is the community that I am launching now, we are having a welcome call on May 11th, and the founding spots of $44 a month are filling up. And I'm not a hard seller, but I do want you to be able to lock in that rate for the lifetime of your membership. I'm so excited because we'll be talking about things, a whole host of topics, but I will bring these types of information systems and learnings and mindfulness practices and modalities to this community so that you have tools in your toolbox that help you stay regulated and help you make the best decisions, help you step out of your comfort zone, because that is where I excel, and my zone of genius is stepping out of my comfort zone, and I want to help you do that too. So you may not feel quite equipped right now, and we're going to talk through the Enneagram types so that you can sort of identify where you're at. If you've never heard of the Enneagram, it is like other personality models, and it is rooted in ancient technology, but the system itself and assigning the 9 personality types to the Enneagram is fairly new. So it was developed in the 1960s, started to be taught to people, and is now a relatively common personality type of system that you can research and explore, and helps create self-awareness. In this day and age where we are constantly on the go, constantly in fight or flight, it takes more effort to regulate our nervous system. And when, you may be hearing that phrase a lot, and what it means is our cortisol levels are high, which is our stress hormone. So we have stress hormones peaking. We have adrenal fatigue. So our adrenal glands do all this work and they're on all the time. And we get a lot of things out of balance in our body. And anytime things are out of balance in our body, it can lead to disease and illness. So we want to take care of ourselves. We want to stay in a more calm and relaxed state. And that is very difficult to do right now. One of the ways that we can find peace is by understanding ourselves a little bit better. And, if that's something that's of interest to you, then you could go to the EnneagramInstitute.com. That is where I'm going to share the information from today. You can identify your type. There might be free tests out there, but I would strongly encourage you to pay for the tests that you can get at the Enneagram Institute. There are books out there. Suzanne Stabile is an author who is out of Texas who knows a tremendous amount about the Enneagram. I don't know if the podcast is still active, but they had a podcast so you can learn more about the types. And again, start to come from this place of self-awareness. So once you know your Enneagram type, you can understand what motivates and drives you, what types of things that you might need to unlock in yourself to be more effective or be more courageous in this world, and how you sort of operate in the world. And anytime we can figure out who we are at our core, we can work to create new patterns in our lives. We can find the tools that might work specifically for us. So, on to the Enneagram. There are 9 types. The types are divided into different triads. I am in the feeling triad as a type 2. And if you listen to this show because you like the idea of overcoming people pleasing, then it's highly likely that you are also a type 2, which is the helper. I will actually start with the type 2. We'll circle back around to type 1. And if you see the Enneagram diagram, it's actually a circle. So it's not as if they're in any particular order. But type 2 is the helper. It is the caring interpersonal type, demonstrative, generous, people-pleasing, and possessive. And type 2s are great because they are empathetic, sincere, and warm-hearted. They are friendly, generous, and self-sacrificing. They can also be sentimental, flattering, and people-pleasing because at their core, they want to feel worthy of being loved. And that is why sometimes they can be very altruistic and helpful. When I volunteered for Meals on Wheels for 5 years, that was me being a very healthy type 2, helping, creating purpose in my life. When it starts to come from a wounded place, then it's codependency. It's helping at the expense of your own needs. And so that's where you can become like you expect outcomes from other people. You might do nice things for other people because you expect the same in return. And you may not even realize that that's why you're doing it. You think, oh, I just want to be helpful. But if you boil it down, if you're expecting that person to then shower you with gratitude, that is an unhealthy place to be a type 2. So the more you can learn about yourself, if you are a type 2, the more objective you might become about your helping nature. There are a lot of selfless people in the world. People like pastors or ministers might be type 2s because they want to be helpful for the greater good of others. And then we can get a little out of balance in our type 2 and start to feel a lot of pride and become over involved in the lives of others because we want to control how they feel because we need to get our emotional needs met. So if that sounds like you, if you're a people pleaser, and also a helper, there are different, everything is on a spectrum. So you can be a healthy helper and then you can be a more codependent helper. So it's more about learning about where you are on that spectrum and how to meet your emotional needs without relying on others to do that for you. Type 3 is the achiever, the success-oriented pragmatic type, adaptive, excelling, driven, and image-conscious. Type 3s are self-assured, attractive, charming, ambitious, confident, and energetic. They can also be very status-conscious and highly driven for advancement. They are concerned about their image and what other people think of them. And when that can be, get into an unhealthy space, they might have problems with workaholism or be really competitive in nature. They want to avoid feeling worthless and to feel valuable and worthwhile. They kind of need that affirmation, not totally unlike a type 2, but from a different mindset. Type 4 is the individualist, the sensitive, withdrawn type, expressive, dramatic, self-absorbed, and temperamental. From what I understand, this is a lot of like creative types, kind of the eccentric artist. They're emotionally honest, creative, and personal, but can also be moody and self-conscious. Now, a type 2 and any of the types can move to a different type when they're unhealthy in a time of stress. They can also move to a different type when they're healthy. They might take on attributes of another type. Allegedly, a type 2 who is in a time of growth moves into type 4. For me, that might be creative expression and feeling more emotionally honest. People praise me for being authentic. Well, I'm more emotionally honest when I'm in a healthy space of a 2 that then takes on some traits of a 4. Now, when a type 2 is in stress, they become an 8, which is the challenger, and we'll get into that. And I know this might sound a little confusing, but this is where, again, learning more about it, if this is something that interests you, then this could be a cool way to unlock your personality type and learn more about yourself and what you could do to find motivation. The investigator is type 5. It's the intense cerebral type. Perceptive, innovative, secretive, and isolated. 5s are alert, insightful, and curious. They fear feeling useless or helpless. They really want to be capable and competent. They develop complex ideas and skills. If you are into tech or you are an early adopter and loving where AI is going, this might be you. You might be a type 5. They can be problem solvers and they want to possess knowledge and understand the environment. Type 6 is the loyalist, the committed, security-oriented type. So engaging, responsible, anxious, and suspicious. Now, the loyalist, as I understand it, is very security-oriented. Job security, financial security. They are reliable, hardworking, responsible, and trustworthy. And they have problems with self-doubt and suspicion. They can be stable and self-reliant, but they also want to have security and feel supported by others. So my dad is an engineer. He was an engineer by trade and very financially responsible, very hardworking. I would say you're not supposed to diagnose others as the Enneagram type, but I would say he's, for me, an example of the 6. 7 is the enthusiast, the busy, fun-loving type, spontaneous, versatile, distractible, and scattered. So some of these are quality traits that are healthy, and then some are, when you get maybe in a less healthy state, feeling scattered. The enthusiast is someone who is seeking fun all the time, maybe more spontaneous, high-spirited. They have a lot of talents, but they can end up overextended, scattered, and undisciplined. This might be like right now with my ADHD diagnosis, I feel a little bit like a 7, but it's not necessarily who I am at my core and how I tend to act naturally. Some people have been this way their whole lives, right? So they're always seeking fun and spontaneity, but they have problems with impatience and impulsiveness. Type 8 is the challenger. And when my husband took the test, this is where he landed. It's the powerful, dominating type who is self-confident and decisive and can also be willful and confrontational. So if you know a type 8 or you are a type 8, then you might like to push buttons. You're self-confident, strong, and assertive, straight-talking and decisive, but can be egocentric and domineering. So 8s want to be in control of people. They can be confrontational and intimidating, sometimes have problems with temper. They want to stay in control of their emotions. Now, they also can be someone who really seeks out nurturing. There are a lot of presidents who have been type 8s, a lot of leaders who are type 8s. Type 9 is the peacemaker. So opposite from the challenger, type 9 is the peacemaker. Easygoing, reassuring, agreeable, and complacent. The peacemaker is the conflict avoider. Now, again, not unlike a 2 who's going to be a people pleaser, but the peacemaker is accepting, trusting, and stable, creative, optimistic, supportive, but they are too willing to go along with others. They may lack the ability to tap into their intuition, and they really want to have peace of mind, inner stability. They want to create harmony, but that's really comes at the expense of, I guess if you think about maybe spiritual bypassing or toxic positivity, someone might be a type 9. And then circling back to type 1, the reformer is the rational, idealistic type, principled, purposeful, self-controlled, and perfectionistic. And that is the reformer. They have a strong sense of right and wrong. They are teachers, crusaders, advocates, always want to improve things, but they're afraid of making a mistake. They can slip into being critical and perfectionistic. These are the 9 Enneagram types, and a way for you to understand different things about your personality type. Then there are layers that you can dig into. And you're wanting to work towards being the healthiest version of that personality type that you can be. And like I alluded to, there are different behaviors you adopt from other types and times of stress. There are times of growth where you take on some of the characteristics that are beautiful and appealing about other types. A lot of it is how you were raised. Unlike human design, which is based on your birth chart and, written in the stars, so to speak, the Enneagram can really be shaped by how you were raised and early childhoods. How you tend to act in any situation is what defines your Enneagram type. Now, when I took the test, I was mostly 2, but I also had strong 6. So I do crave that security. And understanding that just helps me understand what motivates me. Now, you can have analysis paralysis. So I'm not suggesting that you go down a rabbit hole with this and use it to define everything that you do. But like any tool, it can help you lead behavior. It can help you identify maybe if you're trying to be something that you're not. It could help you to understand what are the qualities that you can bring out that are more authentic to your type. So that is a quick chat on the Enneagram. I was using it in social media, and so I wanted you to understand it and know that if you are a people pleaser, then you might be a type 2 and you might want to learn more about that. That is our Monday mini for the day, and I look forward to longer conversations coming up. Don't forget to follow and subscribe because you don't want to miss any of the powerful interviews that I'm having on the show. If you would like to join me in Tahoe, there is still time. June 14th through 18th. I would love to see you on that trip. You can learn more about that and the Thrive Collective at thrivewithchristy.com. You've been listening to Rock the Damn Boat, a podcast produced and recorded by Christy Hughes. You can follow, subscribe on both Apple and Spotify, and your 5-star review goes a long way. Thank you so much for your support of the show.